Namaste everyone, Hari Om, Radhe Krishna. We'll start. Om Shuklam Varadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurus Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेधसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीताय पतये नमः. So we'll start. Firstly, wishing everyone a very happy Gita Jayanti, happy Ekadashi, whoever is celebrating today. So it is very, very auspicious to look at the names of Vishnu Sahasranama, also chant the Gita and so on. So we'll start. So last time we had seen an introduction to the Vishnu Sahasranama. Today we will start looking at the names or the shlokas of Vishnu Sahasranama. But again, today we will not be able to start with the 1008 names because we have not looked at the Dhyanam also. So first we have to look at the Dhyanam part and a bit more of introduction. So Vishnu Sahasranama is so deep, or you can say it is so vast, that it takes a lot of time just to look at the preface part also, and that is also equally important to know that why even a text like Vishnu Sahasranama has been composed and why all of us have to read that. Now, a little part of introduction already we had discussed last week. I also shared a video in this regard. I hope everyone would have gone through that. So now we'll also we'll start looking at the verses of Vishnu Sahasranama, that is starting from Shuklam Varadaram, that is all the Dhyana shlokas that are there. Now, regards to the Vishnu Sahasranama, I had told you that it is a part of Sri Mahabharatam, the epic Mahabharata. Now the Mahabharata, it is divided into 18 parvas. Just like the Ramayana is divided into 7 kandas, starting from the Balakanda, Ayodhya Kanda, Yuddha Kanda, and it concludes with the Uttara Kanda. Similarly, Mahabharata is divided into 18 parvas. It's called a parva. And the Vishnu Sahasranama comes in the Anushasana parva of the Mahabharata. Now, though I am recording this and I will also be sharing on the group later, still, if anyone you have a notebook, pen or something, if you want, if you are interested, you can also note it down. Okay. If you note down something on paper, it helps to remember more easily. So if you want, you can note it. Okay. So Vishnu Sahasranama, it is a part of the Anushasana Parva of Sri Mahabharatam. And it is one of the most sacred stotras that are chanted till date. Now, we had seen last time that Vishnu Sahasranama is a conversation between Sri Bhishmacharya and Yudhishthira. So Yudhishthira's question, Yudhishthira uvacha kimekam daivatam loke kim vapyekam parayanam. There are a few more shlokas before that, starting from Shuklam Varadaram. I'll tell you the meaning of that. First, let us see how what is the base of Vishnu Sahasranama, how did it even start. So the question of Yudhishthira is Kimekam Daivatam Loke. Kim Ekam Daivatam Loke. He says that who is the one God of the world? Kim Ekam Daivatam in this world Loke. Kim Vapyekam Parayanam. Who is the refuge? Where can I surrender? To whom should I surrender? So Kim Vapyekam Parayanam. Stuvandakam Kamarchantaha. Stuvantaha Kam Kamarchantaha. Kim Archantaha. Archantaha meaning whom should I worship? Whom should I glorify? Stuvantaha meaning to chant the glories. Now all of us, we chant different stotras, we sing the songs of the Lord, we sing His glories. That is Stuvantaha. That is why we have a famous, I think few of us, we had learnt it together, a few stutis from Srimad Bhagavatam. In that we had this very famous Bhishma Stuti, wherein Bhishma, he glorifies or he praises God. That is Bhishma Stuti. We have many other stutis also. Dhruva Stuti, Prahlada Stuti, Kunti Stuti, Gajendra Stuti, and so on. So like this, all the devotees of the God, they have praised the God, and that's how Stuti. Stuti means to praise someone. If someone praises me, that means someone is singing my stutis. Only reason is, for all of us, if someone praises, that does not end up becoming a famous stuti. Only we will remember that stuti. Even the person who praises us also will forget that. That is the difference between us and God. But the meaning of the word stuti is glorifying someone. So stuvantaha kam archantaha. So here Yudhishthira asks, Who's that one God? To whom should I surrender? Whose glory should I sing? Whom should I worship? Archana we say. Archana meaning to worship someone. Prapniyur Vanava Shubham. And by doing all this, will I get peace? Will I remain prosperous? Because ultimately now I've got the kingdom, I won over the kingdom. But what I need is happiness and peace always. Let me get even the greatest of riches in life, but ultimately I have to be happy. So what should I do this to get ultimate peace, happiness and prosperity? This is a question that Yudhishthira asks. And for this, he again continues. Ko dharma sarva dharmana bhavatah paramo mataha. Which is the greatest of all dharmas. Kim japan muchyate jantur. Kim japan. Which japa should I do? What should I chant? Janma samsara bandhana, so that I can be free from this bondage, so I can be free from all kinds of dangers or all kinds of troubles. So these are the two questions that Yudhishthira asks Bhishma. And then finally Bhishma starts Jagat Prabhum Devadevam Anantam Purushottamam. He starts talking about the glories of Lord Krishna, of Lord Vishnu. So this is how, or this is the background of how the Vishnu Sahasranama starts, and this is the meaning of the two questions, or a few, not two questions, there are in all 6 questions. Shada Prashniyam it is called. Shat Prashniyam, that is the 6 questions which were asked by Yudhishthira to Bhishmacharya. So further Yudhishthira he continues. When he asks this question, Bhishmacharya he continues, Jagat Prabhum Devadevam Anantam Purushottamam Stuvan Nama Sahasrena Purushastatathottidaha. A person who keeps remembering the God by Jagat Prabhum Devadev, saying he is the Lord of the all worlds. A person who is always engaged in praising the Lord, singing his glories through Stuvan Nama Sahasrena, through the 1,000 names of the Lord, he will always remain happy. And this is how Bhishmacharya tells the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. So this is the background, how even the thought came to Bhishmacharya's mind that he should tell the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. So here again, many commentators say that here we have to give equal recognition to Yudhishthira also. If Yudhishthira had never asked a question, we would have never got this treatise of Vishnu Sahasranama. Bhishma would have never answered, right? So the people who ask questions, like last time also we had discussed Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna and Krishna. If Arjuna had not asked a question to Krishna, that what should I do in the middle of the battlefield, we would have never got the Bhagavad Gita. Or if Dhritarashtra had never asked Vidura a few questions, we would have never got Vidura Niti. So asking questions, or the person who asks questions also, has to be regarded as equally important. But of course, for that we have to, if now asking questions is not wrong. Like all through our dharma, different scriptures, everything is like a conversation only. Mahabharata itself is a conversation between sage Vaishampayana and Janamejaya. If Janamejaya had not questioned Vaishampayana, questioned in the sense if he had not asked that you please tell me about my ancestors, we would have never got Mahabharata, never the Gita, Vishnu Sahasranama and so on. So asking questions has always been a part of all our scriptures, and whichever books we have today, whatever we have to study, everything is in the form of question answer only. It's not that someone just randomly comes and speaks about something. Only if you ask me something, then I can answer, right? So asking questions, that's why in the Gita also, Tadvidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya, Krishna says, ask questions in the right way, you will surely get beautiful answers. And that is a proof how we get Vishnu Sahasranama, the Gita and so on. If the questions are asked in the right way, surely we will get good answers. So this is the reason how the Vishnu Sahasranama came as a gift to all of us. So Bhishmacharya he gives an answer here saying that to know and to always be happy, we have to chant the 1,000 names of the Lord. Now here a question will come. Now always they say Sahasranama, Sahasranama. So does that mean that the Lord has only 1,000 names? Is there not anything else? Like, why only 1,000? It can be even more than 1,000, it can be even less. But no, Bhishmacharya clearly he tells that there are 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, there are more than 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, but why I am telling you only the 1,000 names? For this there is a reason. That is because Rishibhif Pariganataha, there is a famous phrase here saying that these 1,000 names of the Lord have been sung, have been chanted by the Rishis also, therefore they are most auspicious and therefore they become a part of the Sahasranama. That is why the Sahasranama itself you have a line, Rishibhif Parigitani Tani Vakshyami and so on. Right? So the names of the Lord which are chanted by rishis and sages themselves, those names have been included in the Vishnu Sahasranama. Now, Parashara Bhatta. Now, I am telling you. Now see, I told you last time that there are many acharyas who have written commentaries on the Sahasranama, like Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya and so on. I am not sticking to any one commentary. Like for example, if you take the Shankaracharya Bhashya, he will talk in a very philosophical way. Maybe not everyone can understand. Like I myself, and if I have to tell you something, I might not. No, he talks in a very philosophical way. This is Brahman, this is Maya and so on. So with his perspective, he gives an explanation. It becomes difficult to understand. Ramanujacharya, he gives a lot of examples, he tells a lot of stories to know more. For every name he gives about 10 or 15 stories. He talks about the reference of Alvars, Nayanmars and in which temples it was worshipped and so on. That again will take a lot of time. Now for each name we'll have different stories, right? Now why so and so name has come. So I have taken a combination of all the commentaries in a simple way to a certain extent, how we can look at the meanings of all the names. That way I have included whatever little I have understood. Okay, so we should not feel that okay, I'm knowing the meanings of the Vishnu Sahasranama as per a certain commentary only. No, we should be open to all commentaries. We are no one to tell okay, this is great, that is great and so on. We don't know even one properly. So it is better to have a look from our perspective, how much we can understand, how much I'll try my best to make it interesting. Okay. Further we move on. So here there are as per Parashara Bhatta. Chalo.
Nima sonnel Bhishma tells that these na Vishnu Sahasranama gane.
Ama. Yes.
Thank you. Sorry.
No problem. Okay. Now see, if anyone has a question like this, please ask. Okay. Like Naganathan, anyone you want to ask some questions, you please ask. Don't be hesitant. So we have to keep it an interactive session. Just because I am talking doesn't mean you cannot ask anything. Please ask. Of course, if you want, you can ask towards the end also. That is fine. But please ask. If you have a doubt or something, make a note of it. You can ask it later. But please ask. Not only asking. Some people you might be knowing something more than I am saying. Just because I am speaking doesn't mean you have to just listen. Know something more. That's how all of us learn. You can also share that. Okay. Yeah. So we'll continue. So what here Bhishmacharya, he continues and he says that, so I was telling Parashara Bhatta, he follows the Ramanujacharya philosophy, and now Parashara Bhatta, he has also written a commentary on the Vishnu Sahasranama. Now who has staged Parashara? I'll give you a background of this. Again in the Vishnu Sahasranama only it comes in the preface part, even before. What is that? व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिम्. Meaning pranams or my salutations are offered. Bhishmacharya says, or in the Mahabharata it is said that I offer my pranams. So Vyasa, he mentions here that I offer my pranams to Vyasa. Now Vyasa is the great grandson of Vasishta. I'll tell you the lineage. Vasishta, his wife Arundhati. Vasishta's son Shakti. Shakti's son Parashara. Parashara's son Vyasa. So here Vyasa, he says that I offer pranams to all my ancestors. Vyasa is the author. He is the one who has written the Mahabharata. He has composed the Mahabharata. Written by Ganesha. Composition by Vyasa. Here again we have to note. Vyasa has not written with his hand. Mahabharata is written by Lord Ganesha. Vyasa has just told. He has composed. Okay. So Vyasa, now before all of us also, whenever we do a puja, you have a good thing, maybe a shraddha or a ceremony, any ceremony, a small function, wedding, everything. We offer pranams to our family deity, to gods. Also at the same time, if you see, even during weddings or so, we keep images of our maybe grandparents, parents or anyone, the elders in our family. And you see the family priest, he will always say, before we start the puja, you go to pranams to your elders and come. Same thing Vyasa also follows here. He says that I offer pranams to my ancestors. Vyasam Vasishtanaptaram Shaktev Pautramakalmasham Parasharatmajam Vande Shukatatam Taponitim. Now, who's this Vyasa? Now, we all know about Vyasa, Veda Vyasa. Then, we all know about Parashara. Parashara, Vyasa's father, Parashara. And Vasishta, again, you know, from the Ikshvaku Vamsha. Ikshvaku line, Rama's family preceptor, Vasishta. Now, who is this Shakti? Many people will not be aware of this Shakti. Now, if you look at the background story, Vasishta and Vishwamitra, both these people, or you can say both these sages, they used to always have conflicts with each other. Now, Vishwamitra, if you know his story, he was actually a king who later turned out to be a sage, and his guru was Vasishta. That is the later part. But initially, Vishwamitra was always very jealous of Vasishtha. So one day it so happened that Vasishtha's son, now Vasishtha and Arundhati, they had many sons. Out of that, one of them was a sage called Shakti. He was also a sage. He was going about in the forest, and at that time a king, he comes in the middle. So then in a chariot the king comes. Now in those times the only, you can say, like an entertainment for the kings was hunting. So the king had come to the forest and he was hunting. He in his chariot was going about, and in the forest, if you see, some roads are very small. Like even in our everyday cities and towns, you see, especially in villages, roads are very small. So at one time only one vehicle can pass by. We don't have two vehicles which can pass by. Even for walking also, the place will be very small. So similarly here also, the king's chariot was passing by and the sage was coming. Sage Shakti, he was coming from the opposite direction. So now only one person can pass by. So the king says, Sage, you make way for my chariot, I have to go. So he says in a rude manner. Shakti says that I am the Brahmin here, I am a sage, you have to respect me. So kindly let me pass by, then you can move on with your chariot. But then the sage gets angry. The name of the sage is Kalmashapada. If you want, note it down. Kalmashapada. Now this is like, now in this case, both of them were wrong. Saying that both of them were a bit egoistic, both of them were a bit proud of themselves. One person can say, okay, you pass by, I'll wait. It is hardly going to take a minute.
Lakshmi.
But yes.
Kalmashada is the name of the king.
King, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So Kalmashapada. Kalmashapada. Okay. So here again, so it is basically both were egoistic, both had false pride, thinking that okay, I have to pass first, you wait for me, and so on. So even in the sage also, he also had this pride, and even the king also, he also was very proud. So then now what happened is, but the sage did not get angry. The king got angry now. And this king got angry. So he got down from his chariot. And this was being seen by Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra had an enmity with Vasishtha. He saw that okay, this is a good chance to teach Vasishtha a good lesson. He threw now Vishwamitra, through his divine powers, he was a Brahma Rishi, and what he happened is he took advantage of the situation and he sent a demon. The demon's name was Kinkara. He threw the body of this demon out like a spell, you see. Now again, when I tell you such things, we should not believe that everything is magic in our scriptures, it has got no meaning. No. We have 64 kalas, we say Shodasha Kalaha, 64 different forms of art that are there. In that, one of this is this kala, that is spells that are there. Ashtasiddhi, that's why in Hanuman Chalisa we have Ashtasiddhi Navanidike Data Asamandira Janaki Mata. Ashtasiddhi, that is why Hanuman, if you see, he had this power of reducing his size and increasing his size. Laghima, Garima, Varima. These are all not magical spells. He had learned these Shaktis from his Guru Surya. So just because we are not aware of things like this today, it seems to be magic for us. But that doesn't mean that something like this does not exist. Even gambling. Today we consider gambling to be a crime. But we say we have to be away from it. But gambling was only cause of Mahabharata. Right? And even it is said that Krishna also used to play Dyuta with Rukmini. Now that doesn't mean that today we start gambling and playing with each other. But that was only source of entertainment there. They used to not play for money or how we do it today, in the case of gambling. It used to not happen that way. Today we have different forms of entertainment. You have movies, you have TV and so on. Those times that was not there. So people used to play like indoor games, how we used to play. Similarly, they used to play with that motive. But in the 64 kalas that I told you, even gambling is also said to be an art. And this art had been mastered by Duryodhana's mama Shakuni. That is why Duryodhana was smart enough. He did not play gambling. He called his mama to play it. But in the case of the Pandavas, they were fools enough. They themselves played. Instead, if they would have called their mama's son Krishna, then they would have won. How this mama I am telling you? Because mama or uncle that we call, that is because Krishna's aunt was Kunti. So Kunti's brother was Krishna. So Krishna was actually the Pandavas' uncle's son or mama's son. Duryodhana was smart enough to call his mama to play the game of dice, but Yudhishthira and the Pandavas were not smart enough to call their mama's son to play the game of dice for them. And even Krishna also did not say that, okay, let me play. He did not. He said, let all of you play. Maybe then the Mahabharata war also would have been avoided. We would have not got gems like Vishnu Sahasranama and the Gita and so on. So that's how destiny plays it. So I'm just telling you a background story of this. So then all these spells that are there, we should never consider anything as magic. For everything there is a science behind it. So like this Vishwamitra, he throws a spell of a demon inside the body of the king, Kalmashapada, and now the king was not bad in nature. He was not evil. Just because he just got angry because of his pride. But now after the demon came inside the body of the sage, or of the king, sorry, he became very terrific and he started eating everything around himself. He started attacking Sage Shakti. He killed the sage and ate him up. And in his anger, he also killed all the other 100 sons of Vasishtha. So this was how Vishwamitra, he showed his enmity towards Vasishtha. So that demon, who was actually a king, demon had entered the body of the king and he ended up eating all the sons of Vasishtha. He ended up eating even Shakti here. Now Vasishtha, he became very sad. He had lost all his sons at the same time. And at this time, Sage Shakti, now the Sage Shakti, he was married. He had his wife also staying there. And his wife, her name was, now some people here you might feel that we are talking about Vishnu Sahasranama. Story is getting deviated somewhere. On top of that, she's telling the names also. We are going to get confused. But please note, this is only chance when we can speak about such things, and knowing the names is very, very important. Some say it's some person randomly, no. For everything a reference has been mentioned, so we have to know the names of everything. Okay. So the Sage Shakti also was killed by that king. He just gobbled him up. His wife was also there, and they were young in nature, and wife's name was Adrishyanti. Adrishyanti. See, the names are also unique. Adrishyanti. And at the same time, she was pregnant with the child of Shakti. And at the same time, Shakti passed away. So the child was still inside the womb of the mother. And this child that was born, that was Sage Parashara. Parashara, who was Vasishtha's father. Okay. So this is how the birth of Parashara took place. And Parashara, next son was Vyasa. Okay. So Vasishtha, Shakti, Parashara, Vyasa. This is how the lineage goes about. So now coming back to the main.
Shaktiyoda wife pair MS Akka, sorry.
Adrishyanti. Adrishyanti. Okay. Jyoti ji, want to say something?
Yeah, so this Vyasa, he's the same person as Satyavati's son that we know in Mahabharata.
Yes. Yes. Now I'll tell you I'll tell you one reason behind this. One second, Jyoti ji. Padmavati ji, tell.
This Kalmashapada king and Shakti, Vasishtha's son, were having the conflict with each other.
Yes.
But that time, how come Vishwamitra, where did he mean, how does he come over?
Vishwamitra was there in the forest. He saw them from a distance and he took an advantage of it. Yeah.
So then he threw the
Yes, he threw the spell of the demon.
He did like that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Means he said that this is a very nice situation, I've got a good advantage, so I'll do that now. Now Jyoti ji, coming back to your question. This is the sage Vyasa, same Vyasa who was composed of Mahabharata, Satyavati's son from that. But now a question comes here that this Vyasa name, we also call him as Veda Vyasa. From the Mahabharata point of view, Parashara, Satyavati, their son Vyasa, that is one thing. But this name Vyasa is actually not the name of one person. It is, the Vyasa was composed of Mahabharata. His name was Krishna Dvaipayana. Why so Krishna Dvaipayana? He was a bit black in color. Krishna Dvaipayana, Dvipam. He was born in an island. So his original name was Krishna Dvaipayana. Why Vyasa then? Now the literal meaning of the word Vyasa means compiling something. Now all the Puranas, the Mahabharata, all the 4 Vedas, they have been compiled by Vyasa. But if you see the time period of the Mahabharata, of all the Puranas and the Vedas, one person cannot be alive all through this, right? Throughout the Mahabharata, okay, there is one Vyasa, Veda Vyasa. Now there are different opinions for this. They said that Veda Vyasa, the Vyasa who compiled the 4 Vedas, and the Vyasa who composed the Mahabharata, they are one and the same. But the Vyasa who composed all the other 18 Puranas, they are all different Vyasas in different time periods, right? Now this name Vyasa is actually not a proper noun. It is not the name of a person. For anyone, now the Vedas or the Mahabharata or the Puranas, Puranas to some extent, they are not again imaginary stories, they are things that have actually happened. But still some point of imagination, by looking at the descriptions, we feel that Puranas, maybe like over exaggeration you can call. They are not false. It's not just imagination stories or fiction, but it can be some part of creativity that is added by the poet. And in the case of Mahabharata and Vedas, they are not compositions of Vyasa alone. Vedas were already there, But only thing that Vyasa did was he compiled the 4 Vedas. He took the 4 Vedas, said, okay, this is Rig Veda, this is Yajur Veda, this is Sama Veda, this is Atharva Veda. So basically the arrangement of the Vedas was done by Vyasa. The one who arranges things, that is actually the meaning of the name Vyasa. Same in the case of Mahabharata. He did not use anything of his imagination. He just recorded. Story had already happened. All the things had already happened. I told you last time, Vyasa and Valmiki were very much present during Ramayana and Mahabharata. So they have not used any of their imagination. They have just written like a report. It's just like a recording of the things that have happened. So here again Vyasa did the same thing. He just compiled, put it in a story form. So the person who does this compilation work, arranges things properly, that is actually a Vyasa. So there have been different Vyasas who have composed Puranas, Mahabharata and the Vedas. But the person who has compiled the Vedas and composed the Mahabharata, references say that he is the same Vyasa. Okay, Jyotija, I hope I answered your question. Okay. Yeah. So now we'll continue. Tell.
This Adrishanti was the wife of Shakti.
Shakti, yes.
And then in her womb was the child
Parashara.
Okay, then who was blind?
Blind?
Adrishanti was blind.
No. Her name only was like that. No. Only her name was like that. Adrisha.
Okay, I got it.
It's a proper noun. Her name was like that. It's got nothing to do with it. Yeah? Okay. So this is how Parashara came and Vyasa has composed the Mahabharata. So I just told you a rough story about...
Sorry ma'am, just one second. In the same story of the Vishwamitra that you had just shared with respect to Shakti, even Trishanku is involved in that, right?
Sorry, who was involved?
Trishanku king was also
No.
involved, right?
Trishanku's incident is different. In this story, he does not fall about. Trishanku and Vishwamitra Vasishta, that is a different story altogether. Okay?
ma'am. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now again, so this is how is the lineage of Vyasa. We deviated from the topic a bit. I just wanted to tell you that Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahma Nidaye Vasishtaya Namo Namaha. You have these verses, and then Vyasam Vasishta Naptaram Shaktev Pautrama Kalmasham. All these words come in the starting verses of the Vishnu Sahasranama. So we must know who are these. Vyasam Vasishta Naptaram Naptaram great grandson. Shakte Putraha, Pautraha, Naptaraha. Putraha, son, Pautraha, grandson, Naptaraha, great grandson. Vyasam, Vasishta, Naptaram, Shaktev, Pautram, Kalmasham, Parasharat, Majam Vande, Shukatatam, Taponitam, and so on. So, like this, Vyasa, before he starts the Vishnu Sahasranama or in the Mahabharata, he prays to his ancestors also, and then he starts with the Vishnu Sahasranama. So, here Parashara, I told you what Parashara is told about Vishnu Sahasranama, told you now who is Parashara. So he talks about 6 important features of the Vishnu Sahasranama. What is that? Mahabharatasya saratvat. The first feature. Vishnu Sahasranama is a part of Mahabharata. So it is like the saram. You can say like the essence. So, or you can say greatest treasure of the Mahabharata. That is the Vishnu Sahasranama. Therefore it is called as Mahabharatasya saratvat. Therefore it is important. Second is Rishibhih Pariganataha. I already told you this. These 1000 names have been told by many rishis and sages. Therefore, they are considered to be very, very auspicious. Third, Vedacharya Samaharat. Vedacharya, Vyasa himself has composed it. Therefore, we have to give it a lot of more importance. Vedacharya Samaharat. Further, Bhishmot Krishna Madatvaha. Bhishmo Krishna, meaning when the 1000 names of Lord Vishnu were told to Yudhishthira by Bhishma, Krishna was very much present there. So you look at the glories. When now we chant something, is God even there? Of course we feel, no, I am chanting, God is there, He is listening to me. We try to console ourselves. Of course He may be listening, but do we have Him in present form? There are so many other texts that are composed. God was not present everywhere. But here, Bhishmot Krishna Madatvaha. This is another significance for Bhishmacharya, saying that even Lord himself waited there to listen to his own 1000 names. Now I'll tell you a story behind this. After the 1000 names were told to Lord Yudhishthira and all the significance was over, everything was over, then also Bhishma, he waited for Uttarayana Kala. Now Bhishma, I told you, he had a boon of deciding when he can die. So there, Bhishmacharya decides that in the Uttarayana Kala, again you get the reference in the Gita itself, Bhagavad Gita, wherein if a person descends to heaven in Uttarayana, that is from the months of January to July, it is very, very auspicious. And now in the case of us, all of us, we cannot predict our death, that is there. But in the case of Bhishmacharya, because he had this boon, he decided to die during the Uttarayana Kala, and he lay on the bed of arrows till then. So there, when the time had come, when the Uttarayana period comes and Bhishma decides to die, Krishna, he was in Dwaraka. Bhishma is lying in the bed of arrows in Kurukshetra, today's Haryana. He's lying in Dwaraka there. And he was just sitting with Rukmani. Some people say that he was just playing a game of dice also with Rukmani. They were spending time with each other. At that time, Krishna suddenly starts crying. So Rukmani says, maybe she says in a joking way, that you are the one who makes everyone cry, and today you are crying. What is the reason? So Krishna says that my greatest devotee Bhishmacharya, a few months back, I listened to him chanting the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. Today he is dying and today he is ascending to heaven. So Bhishmacharya, he was one of the greatest, you can say greatest devotees, greatest bhaktas. Bhishma Stutihi, even till date people chant that. It is very, very auspicious. If you get an opportunity, you must learn it. Comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhishma Stutihi, wherein the Lord himself shed tears for a person who is dying. In the case of all of us, it will never happen like that. We die for others who die. Maybe our own parents, close relations, or someone dies, we cry for them. But the Lord himself, he cried when Bhishmacharya dies. Bhishma, we have to always remember Bhishma and give him a lot of importance. One is, he was never happy in his life. Bhishma Pratignya, he said. He never thought about himself. He knew the war, everything that was happening was wrong. But still, he stayed, he followed Raja Dharma. He said, no, I have to support the Kauravas, because I have promised my mother back then. He was born out of Ganga. His own mother left him and went. Then Satyavati and so on, they came. Shantanu story we know. Shantanu, he married another woman. Then she said that no, her father said that my son has to come, therefore you abandon Bhishma, otherwise I'll not give you in marriage. So then Bhishma said, because he also, I'm not getting too much deep into the story, I'll just tell you roughly. So then Bhishma Pratignya, we know the famous Bhishma Pratignya, he says that, no, so firstly, even before Bhishma Pratignya, he says, no, he's just like my brother, so Vichitra Virya and so on, I will tell him to ascend the throne, you did not worry about that. But then the king says, okay, you might be willing to do that, but what about your family? Your wife will say that, no, my husband has to become the king, I have to become the queen. Same thing, that is why in the Mahabharata it is said, Yadasti tadanyatra yannehasti natat kvachit, meaning that whatever is mentioned in the Mahabharata or whatever happens in the Mahabharata, same things are seen even today, and whatever is not mentioned there, such a thing does not exist. What is the meaning of this? Now that doesn't mean that the same thing happens. Maybe battle happened, today also the battle happens, not that way, but with regards to the storyline. Today also if you see, say for example there is a husband and a wife, there are some property issues between two brothers. Many times what happens is, maybe both the brothers are happy with each other, but conflicts arise between the wife. Obviously the wife will say, why you are giving everything to your brother just because he's your brother, we should fight for our rights and so on. Same thing there, Satyavati's father, Shantanu's father-in-law, he tells that, you, I agree, that is fine, but your family will not agree. What for that? What is the proof? So there, that's when Bhishma takes a pratignya that I will ajivana brahmachari, I will never marry. And that's how he takes the pratignya. Now, further moving about, so this is one story of Bhishma. He never married for the sake of his father. Further, though he was very good, he supported the Pandavas and the Kauravas, in the end he had to die because of his supporting the bad party. So this is again a learning for all of us. You might be good, but if you support a wrong company, it leads to our own destruction. That is why Satsangatve Nissangatvam, Satsangam, very, very important. Shankaracharya says in Braja Govindam. So again, so Bhishmacharya, this is the glory of Bhishmacharya. He laid in the bed of arrows, even by laying there in so much pain, he composed 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. So for such a devotee, Lord Krishna himself shed tears, thinking that such a person who has never thought anything about himself or for himself, he has never been happy. Today he is dying, he is ascending to heavens. So this is the fourth speciality that Parashara says, Bhishmot Krishna Madatvaha, saying that Bhishma and Krishna, wherein Krishna himself had to cry for Bhishma. Further, Parigrahat Atishayataha. I'm just using some certain words from the original literature only, just to give you an idea. Parigrahat Atishayataha, meaning the Mahabharata Ramayana, Mahabharata, they are given a lot of importance. There are other Puranas also, many other texts, but these are well known. And amongst one of the well known Itihasas, Mahabharata, we have got this gem of Vishnu Sahasranama. Last is Geetot Krishna Madhotkataha. After the Gita, that is after the conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, the next step that we get is the conversation between Bhishmacharya and Yudhishthira, which people even regard more than the Gita. The reason being, Lord Krishna himself has told the Gita, that is there. One of the greatest devotees of Lord Krishna has talked about his glories, that is the Vishnu Sahasranama. So Vishnu Sahasranama, or something that is composed by devotees, is regarded more than the something which has been told by God himself. So the sixth feature is Geetot Krishna Madhotkaha. So this is a few things that Parashara tells about Vishnu Sahasranama. This comes in the preface. These are not directly, it's not a part of the Vishnu Sahasranama. In his commentary, Parashara mentions. Further we see further we continue. Now Yudhishthira has asked the 6 questions.
Feature ஒரு தடவை திருப்பி சொல்லுவேளா?
You want the Sanskrit names?
இல்ல அந்த 6 features.
6 features. Mahabharatasya saratvat, essence of Mahabharata. Rishibhih pariganataha, these 1000 names are chanted by sages. Vedacharya samahara, Vedacharya Vyasa himself has composed the Mahabharata. Bhishmot Krishna Madatvaha, one of the greatest devotees of the Lord is Bhishma. He himself has composed this, and Krishna himself fell bad for Bhishmacharya. Parigrahat Atishayataha, meaning this Vishnu Sahasranama is a part of one of the topmost itihasas, that is Mahabharata. Last, Geetot Krishna Madhotkaha. It is one notch higher than even the Srimad Bhagavad Gita that has been composed by Lord Krishna, because it has been composed by one of the greatest devotees of the Lord. Okay? Yeah. Now, further.
This prelude is given by whom? Vyasa?
Parashara. Vyasa's father, Parashara. Okay. Now Bhishma continues, I told you, Jagat Prabham Deva Devam Anantam Purushottamam Stuvannama Sahasrena Purushastatadottitaha. So one who chants 1000 names of the Lord, he will always be happy. So now this was the main point. For this I told you so much of story behind the significance of the 1000 names and so on. Further he continues, Tameva Charchayantyam Bhaktya Purushamapyam.
Bhagavad Gita தானே ஸ்ரீமத் பாகவதம்.
Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Tameva Charchayan Nityam Bhaktya Purushamapyam Dhyayam Stuvan Namasyancha Yajamanas Tamevacha. Further, Bhishma Vacha, he continues, saying that now Yudhishthira has asked the 6 questions. Whom should I worship? Whom should I glorify? Whose name should I chant? Whose japa should I do? So here he says, Tameva Charchayan Nityam Bhaktya Purusham Abhyayam. Purushaha, man who is always engaged in bhakti. Lokadhyakshastvan Nityam Sarva Dukkhati Ko Bhaved. One who does this, one who worships the Lord. Stuvan Nityam, Nityam always. It is not that once a year on the day of Ekadashi I will sit and fast for 24 hours. Remaining 364 days I am engaged in my worldly affairs. That is not needed. 5 minutes you sit every day, that is more than enough. So this is Lokadhyaksham Stuvan Nityam. Nityam always. Whatever you do, you have to do it always. One who worships the Lord daily, they overcome all kinds of sorrows, says Bhishmacharya. Now this Nityam has got a very, very important significance. For everything, it may not be only for bhakti. Whatever we do, that's why we say, be consistent. Do things consistently. One day of the year I do, remaining let it be. Vidyarambam day, everyone, the Dasera, Vijayadashmi day, we start learning something new. Or forget about Vidyarambam, all that. 1st January is not very far. 1st January, we all make resolutions, which last for maybe 1 day or 1 week. After that, next year I'll take care, right? So this is what we do. That is, we are not consistent. Same thing here. Bhishmacharya says, Lokadhyaksham Stuvan Nityam. Nityam is very, very important. Now when we say Nityam, doesn't mean that 24 hours you are sitting and just worshipping God, chanting His names and so on. You do only for 5 minutes, that is more than enough, with full faith, devotion and bhakti. For this again we have a famous story in the Puranas. If I tell you all these stories, we'll never start with Vishnu Sahasranama. Okay, but still, Narada, famous incident of Narada. Now we all know Narada, who keeps chanting the names of the Lord 24/7. Narayana, Narayana and so on. So he was very proud. He goes to Vishnu and says, see, I'm your greatest devotee. Chanting your names always. Traveling all over the world just by spreading your bhakti. Vishnu says, no, I know a devotee who is greater than you. Narada is shocked, he gets very angry. Who is that person There is no one like me who can chant the names of the Lord. Vishnu takes him to a farmer's house. Now the farmer, he had a small family, his wife and his children. They were staying together. Every morning he had a small image of Lord Vishnu in his house. He used to do the worship, to light a lamp, chant a few shlokas that he knew, and then he used to offer flowers, whatever he had, he used to offer to the Lord. He used to go to his field. He was a farmer by profession. He used to go to his field. Full day he used to work there. Again in the evening he used to come back. And again in the evening also he used to light the lamp, offer flowers, chant a few prayers, and then he used to spend time with his family, have food and so on, and go to bed. So this was his daily routine. So Vishnu showed him, see, he is my greatest devotee. Narada is shocked. This story comes in the Padma Purana. So what you are saying? 5 minutes he is chanting your names, 1 or 2 shlokas. I am chanting your names for 24 hours and you are saying he is my greatest devotee? What nonsense. Vishnu does not tell him anything. Vishnu, now what he does, he brings a small pot. In the pot he fills oil in that, and he tells Narada to keep this pot full of oil on your head. See, there was a small hill nearby. He says you keep this pot full of oil on your head and you cross this hill. You climb from here, get down on that side, I will be waiting for you then. And while you are doing this, not even a single drop of oil should spill on the ground. Be careful. Narada says what Vishnu is telling me to do, but still he tries. He keeps the oil pot on his head, he crosses over the hill without spilling a drop of oil, he returns back. Vishnu is waiting for him on the other side. So Vishnu comes and meets. Now Narada does not even know why he had to do all these things. Just because the Lord says, he ends up doing it. Now after he does this, Vishnu tells, okay, good, you did not spill even one drop of oil. And now Narada asks, why did you tell me to do all this? Is there any reason for this? So Lord Vishnu asks him, he counter questions him, saying that, while you had this oil in your head, did you remember me even for a minute? Narada gets angry here again. How can I remember you? You told me to keep the oil on top of my head. My full concentration was there. Otherwise oil will spill, right? Now, see, when he had told to keep the pot on his head, he told you should not touch it with your hands. You have to just balance it on your head. So then Narada argues, saying that how will I even remember you? So then Lord Vishnu says, that's what. When you say that 24 hours you remember me, when you're doing something, when did you remember me? You don't do that, right? So now Narada, he learns a lesson. What is a lesson? Lord says, you need not remember me 24/7. Whatever you are doing, do that with full concentration. Be it in your personal life or professional life. You dedicate some time for me, that is more than enough. Just like the farmer. He remembers me for a few times, few hours, few minutes in a day, but with full bhakti and devotion, without thinking about anything else. And then he goes about doing his everyday work. He says that people, all of you, you do the same thing, that is more than enough. I will accept that happily. Nobody told us to remember me 24/7. Like you say, Narayana, Narayana. Just by chant. Now, Narada, again, we have to also praise him. It's not that he does something wrong by chanting the names of the Lord. He moves about here and there and so on. Narada is Devarshi, one of the greatest sages, no doubt about it. But Vishnu, he says that whatever we do, we should not be proud. So basically, Vishnu, he showed Narada that we should not be proud of ourselves, and he reduced the pride of Narada. So this is a story of Nityam. Lokadekshastvan Nityam. So what is the meaning of Nityam? Many people feel, what, 24 hours I should chant the names of the Lord. Is this even possible? If I am doing this, then I can build a temple for myself. No. The meaning of Nityam is this. Few minutes you do, few minutes you dedicate. That is more than enough. Again, I gave you one example also for this. The story of Narada and Vishnu. Okay. So this is what Bhishmacharya tells to you. And he says that...
Six questions you said, no? Which Yudhishthira asked, he said, whom should I pray, whom should I glorify, whom should I do japa, whom should I chant? What are the other two?
Which is the dharma, greatest dharma of all times. Which is the greatest dharma of all times. And the sixth one, who is a refuge for all? Refuge, where should I surrender myself? Okay?
Pray, glorify, and dharma, refuge, and then?
I'll tell you again. Kimekam daivatam loke, who is the one God of the whole world. Kimva pekam parayanam, who is the one refuge for all. Stuvantakam kamarchantaha, whom should I glorify, whom should I worship? Prapnayur manavashabam, how will I get peace and prosperity?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and dharma and japa. Okay. Now further, Bhishmacharya again says, Eshame sarvadharmanam dharmo dhikatamo mataha. After saying all this, he says, Eshame sarvadharmanam. According to me, mataha, in my opinion, this is the highest dharma. Which is the highest dharma? I just told you in the 2 verses before. Jagat Prabham Devadevam, one who chants the names of the thousand names of the Lord, who does bhakti to him sincerely, always with full faith and devotion. According to me, this is the highest dharma. Esha me meaning this me is according to me. Again, the Gita also, I don't remember if I told you this, Gita also many places he says, Krishna says, Mataha, Mataha. What is Mataha? In my opinion, Me Mataha, he says. So there is no compulsion. Again, one more learning for all of us. There is no compulsion that is made in any of our scriptures by God himself or God's devotees. It says, according to my opinion. God himself says to Arjuna, according to me, this is the right way. You can decide what you want to do. So this is one more speciality of all our scriptures and books. There is no compulsion anywhere. This is what is right. I believe in this. You asked me, so I am saying so. And always remember, be it the Gita or be it the Vishnu Sahasranama, these people like Bhishmacharya and Lord Krishna himself, they do not praise out of their own choice. They did not start preaching just because they wanted to. Arjuna asks, so Krishna tells. Yudhishthira asked, so Bhishma tells. So this again shows the humility and the humble nature of these great souls. That is again one thing which we can learn from this. Okay. So this is what Bhishma tells here, and then the story continues. Now, for this, Bhishma then chants the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. He starts with that Vishwam, Vishnur, Vashatkaro, and so on. Now, I'll just start looking at properly the names of each and every name and the story behind it maybe from next time. Just a preface, I'll tell you that the name of the first name, Vishwam, that is their universe. Now, in the Narayana Suktam also, from the Vedas, Narayana Suktam we have Antar Bahishta Tat Sarvam Vyapya Narayana Stitaha. Antar Bahishta Tat Sarvam. So Vishwam is the universe. Vishwam Vishnur. The literal meaning of the word Vishnur is one who pervades everything, one who is present everywhere. Now Vishnu, you know that he is known for maintaining this universe, right? Sthiti, Laya. Destruction is for Shiva, maintenance is for Vishnu, creation is for Brahma, right? So creation is one who pervades, maintenance is one who takes care of everything, that is Lord Vishnu. So this is one meaning. And in Narayana Suktam what comes is Antar Bahishcha Tat Sarvam. Antar inside, Bahihi outside. So that which pervades everything inside and out, that is Lord Vishnu. So taken together, all these names, Vishwam, Vishnur, Vashatkaraha, if you look at all this, and now I'll just tell you the significance of a few names today, because we have started with this topic. We'll look at one by one in order from next time. So all these names, if you look together, we find that there are a few names which have some unique features. What is that? For example, Shivaha. The 27th name, if you want to, you can note it down. 27th name is Shivaha, meaning the pure or auspicious one. And in the Shankara Bhashya, I am not saying this, in the Adi Shankaracharya Bhashya, there Shankaracharya says that Shivaha, Lord Shivaha here, that actually means very pure or auspicious one. And he shows that this name has been purposely included in the Vishnu Sahasranama. Sages stand this amongst the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, saying that there is no difference between Shiva and Vishnu. Therefore, this name has been included in the Vishnu Sahasranama. Those who chant the Vishnu Sahasranama, you will know Shivaha, one name comes here. This again shows the unity between Shaivism and Vaishnavism. There is no difference between that. Now further, you also have other names that are told. For example, Rudraha, Shambhu, Ishanaha, Mahadeva, and so on. And in the Narayana Suktam again we have Sa Brahma, Sa Shiva, Sa Haris, and so on. He is Shivaha, he is Hari, he is Brahma, and so on. So again, this shows the unity between all the gods. There is no ground for discrimination at all. And further, this is not only with regards to the Vishnu Sahasranama, in the Shiva Ashtottara also, those who chant the Shiva Ashtottara Shatanamavali, Shivaya Namaha, and so on. Maheshwaraya Namaha, Shambhave Namaha, Pinakine Namaha, Shashishekharaya Namaha. One name is Haraye Namaha. Haraye Namaha, Harihi. One name of Lord Shiva is Harihi. So this is again, so why I am trying to say this, be it the Vishnu Sahasranama or be it the Shiva Sahasranama, there is always unity between both the gods. All gods are considered to be one. Now, though our topic is Vishnu Sahasranama, Shiva Sahasranama is also an auspicious text. Maybe some other time we can learn it. Now, Yudhishthira, he was very smart enough. Now, after listening to the glories of Vishnu Sahasranama, Now even all of us also, when we listen to something, if you develop interest in that, we want to know more. Okay, now say for example in this class also, if now it started the topic of Shiva Sahasranama, maybe after we finish Vishnu Sahasranama, maybe one of you might ask, why not we look for Shiva Sahasranama also? Why so? Because some interest has been developed. Okay, now I don't know whether it happens in the case of all of us, but it happened in the case of Yudhishthira. Listening to Bhishmacharya, he says that 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu you have told me, but now I want to know the 1,000 names of Lord Shiva also. And incidentally, you can say that the 1,000 names of Lord Shiva, the Shiva Sahasranama, also is a part of Anushasana Parva only of Mahabharata. Again saying that the same Parva, Anushasana Parva of the Mahabharata, talks about 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu, 1,000 names of Lord Shiva. So we have both the Vishnu Sahasranama and the Shiva Sahasranama, both are a part of Anushasana Parva only of Mahabharata. Again showing the unity between Shaivism and Vishnuism. So today whoever is fighting, you are a Shiva devotee, I am a Vishnu devotee and so on, everything is mere nonsense. People are fighting amongst themselves just to create rights. And for mere sheer arguments, all our scriptures you can see the unity. Again in the Kurma Purana also, if you remember, I had told you, Shiva and Vishnu both together. Kurma Purana gives this reference that Shiva and Vishnu are not different from each other. Again, reference you again go to Ramayana. Rameshwaram temple has been built by Rama. Ramasya Ishwaraha Rameshwaraha. Lord Shiva says, Lord of Rama, Rama says here that Ramasya Ishwaraha Rameshwaraha. Lord of Rama is Rameshwara, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva does not like this. He says, no, I cannot be so this. Now it is said that Lord Shiva, he is the greatest devotee of Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu is the greatest devotee of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, we know he is always engaged in meditation. It is said that he is engaged in meditation in chanting the Ramanama, chanting the names of Vishnu. This is what is said. So here, Shiva did not like this when Rama said Ramasya Ishwaraha Rameshwaraha, Lord of Rama, Shiva, no. So then in Sanskrit, this is a grammatical formation. Very smartly Shiva gives an answer. Ramaha Yasya Ishwaraha Rameshwaraha, meaning one whose Lord is Rama. Ramaha Yasya Ishwaraha. One whose Lord is Rama, that is this Rameshwara. So you can interpret it in both ways. Okay. So these are called compound or samasa in Sanskrit. Just I'm telling you for your knowledge. But Ramasya Ishwaraha Rameshwaraha, Ramaha Yasya Ishwaraha Rameshwaraha. Again, the humility of both the gods is being seen. But now Yudhishthira, he requests Bhishmacharya that you told me the 1,000 names of Vishnu. Now you also tell me please the 1,000 names of Lord Shiva. So then Bhishmacharya says that now I will not be able to do that. So he says that I have already told you the names of Vishnu. For me it will not be possible now, because he was again, maybe physically also he might be incapable, or he was not, even mentally also he was not prepared. We don't know. So Bhishma says that now it will not be possible for me. You request Lord Krishna himself. He is present here. You request him. You ask him what should be done. And Krishna himself tells, or he recites the Shiva Sahasranama. And this Shiva Sahasranama has been taught by Krishna to his guru sage Upamanyu. Upamanyuruvacha, it will come in the Mahabharata. Wherein Krishna's guru Upamanyu, he had taught him the 1,000 names of Lord Shiva, which further Krishna tells Yudhishthira. The reason I am telling you this is, there should be no discrimination that should be made between gods. Vishnu is great, Shiva is great, Brahma is great. Who are we to decide? We are no one in front of anyone. So, but here again you get proofs for this. So nothing is being talked out of air, someone just comes and tells something. No, there are proper proofs for everything that is being told here. And both the Shiva Sahasranama and the Vishnu Sahasranama are very much part of the Anushasana Parva only. And only thing is that Bhishmacharya and Yudhishthira talk about Vishnu Sahasranama. Lord Krishna himself tells Yudhishthira the 1,000 names of Lord Shiva. So you look at you can say the good fortune or the good karma that Yudhishthira would have done. That's why we call it Dharma. Yudhishthira is said to be an incarnation of Lord Dharma only. He was so fortunate enough to listen to the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu from Bhishmacharya and the 1,000 names of Lord Shiva from Lord Krishna himself. This was his good fortune. So these are a few things with regards to the Vishnu Sahasranama. Now, a few 5 minutes are left. I'll tell you what is the significance of chanting Vishnu Sahasranama. Now all of you will have this in mind. I'm learning so much about Vishnu Sahasranama. You're blabbering so much about this. 2 sessions are done. You have not even started with one name. You're telling so much about its significance. from where did you find all this, or why should I even know so much about this, or why should I even chant this? Now I suppose, or I at least assume that most of you are well versed with the Vishnu Sahasranama, or you know to chant. Still, if there is anyone who does not know, I have shared the audios on the group. You please make use of that and learn it, or maybe you get some opportunity. Please learn the Vishnu Sahasranama. I'll tell you the significance of this. What is that? In the Ayurveda Shastram itself, Ayurveda, it is a part of the fourth Veda, Atharva Veda. There, now what is Ayurveda? Ayurveda is medical science. But in Ayurveda itself, it is mentioned that you follow all the medical procedures that have been told in the Ayurveda. Can be this treatment, this operation, that operation, this surgery, everything. But ultimately, if everything fails, what is the pariharam? What should be done? Chant the Vishnu Sahasranama 3 times, all diseases will be cured. This I am not saying, Bhishmacharya does not say, Yudhishthira does not say, Lord Krishna does not say. Ayurveda Shastram itself says, medical science itself says, Ayurveda Shastram, medical science is Ayurveda, that if all treatments fail, chant the Vishnu Sahasranama 3 times, all your illnesses will be cured. Now that is why even in I don't know if there are some doctors here, you try all your treatments, but last, if nothing happens, what they say, leave it to God, leave the will to God. That is why you see many homes also even till date, when someone is on their deathbed or maybe in a coma stage or something, if a person is not responding to anything, they play the Vishnu Sahasranama in the background. They said that the person, however in a state of coma it might be, the person, if he listens to the 1000 names of Lord Vishnu, at least to some extent, some recovery signs will be shown. Okay, so this is one thing. For this, there are different stories for this. Mahapariva, Kanchi Mahapariva, Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati, Swamiji, what he did, once he was suffering from a grave fever. I mean, those times even having a fever was considered to be very serious. Like today, we didn't have other treatments. Today, a small fever comes, we eat something and paracetamol or something and we are cured. But in those times, getting a fever was, it was like a big disease. So he tried different treatments, this and that. Nothing happened. So what did Kanchi Pariva say? He said that you call about 150 priests, 150 Vedic Brahmins, you call them to the Kanchi Mata, you make them chant the Vishnu Sahasranama 3 times. I will listen to that. 150, those Vaidikas, they came there, they chanted the Vishnu Sahasranama, and it is said that they chanted it thrice. After listening to it 3 times, Kanchi Pariva, he was cured of his illness, of his great grave fever. And this is not a story that happened many or thousands of years back, it was just in the previous century. One more thing, one more significance that is told by Bhanabhatta. Bhanabhatta is one of the Sanskrit poets, you can say. He says that in this one of his texts, what he mentions is one of his Sanskrit literature text, Avichinnapyamana Narayana Nama Sahasram Jape. Avichinnapyamana, Avichinnapya meaning whenever pregnant lady, now during pregnancy, during the last days of labor, when the pain is unbearable, or you may be in about 2-3 days or so, or the due date is nearing, at that time, all through the pregnancy you can chant, but especially during the labor days when the pain becomes unbearable, if we chant the Vishnu Sahasranama thrice, the pain reduces to some extent and the child, labor gets easy, the child is born easily, the mother may not have to face a lot of problems. This is a belief that Bhanabhatta mentions in his text, Avichinnapyamana, meaning the pain reduces, Narayana Nama Sahasram Jape, to one who chants 1000 names of Narayana. So these are different Palashrutis that are told about the significance of chanting the Vishnu Sahasranama. It is said to cure different kinds of diseases. And I think in today's times, the greatest health is wealth, we say. And with the pandemic around, I think health, or people have become very conscious about their health. And that is why this is the importance or the significance of Sahasranama. Okay, so with this today...
Can I just write back to back on the same day, is it?
Sorry, what you're saying?
The chanting of Vishnu Sahasranama 3 times on the same day, back to back, it should happen.
Yes, back to back. If you do 3 times, if we chant, it is good. At least once we can make it. It will not take more than 1 hour, even if you chant it 3 times. Yeah, now some people, how you chant the Vishnu Sahasranama, I will tell you. Start with the Dhyanam, then the 1000 names of Lord Vishnu, then the Palashruti. Some people, what they do when they chant, this is the first time you do. Second time when they chant, they directly start from Vishnu or Vashatkara, only the 1000 names. They don't start again with the Dhyanam and the Palashruti. So again, they just start with Vyasam, Vishram, Vishnu or Vashatkara. They start with verse number 1. The last was Vanamali Garishangi. Second time they chant that. And again, third time, Vishwam Vishnar Vashatkaru. They go back. Again, they don't start with dhyana. But the last time they concluded with the Phalashruti. So this is how some people practice. Some people prefer chanting it right from Shuklam Varadanam till the end together. So these are different beliefs that are told. So today again we saw maybe a little bit preface of the Vishnu Sahasranama. I think at least I assume from next time onwards we can start actually with verse number 1 of Vishnu Sahasranama. So today we discussed more about the background, the preface, mainly the Dhyana Shloka, questions asked by Yudhishthira, Bhishma's answer to this, significance of chanting the names of the Lord and the importance of Vishnu Sahasranama.